Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Pour and Explore, a wine, food, and travel podcast. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy. I'd love to be your go-to guide for all things wine, food, and the amazing places they take us. Here on Pour and Explore, we'll sip, savor, and wander through the exciting world of wine, discuss incredible cuisines, and uncover the stories behind unforgettable destinations. Each week, I'll bring you lively conversations with wine experts, chefs, travel pros, and fellow enthusiasts. We'll share practical tips, hilarious tales, and plenty of inspiration to fuel your next adventure. So grab a glass, pull up a chair, and join me as we pour, explore, and celebrate the good life. Let's dive in.
Hello, wine lovers and wanderers. Welcome back to another episode of Pour and Explore, the podcast where we sip, snack, and set out on adventures around the world. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, aka the Wine Guy, and today we're talking about something that is near and dear to my heart: how to plan a wine and food road trip that totally doesn't suck. Because let's be honest, we've all been there. You think, let's hit the road, drink some great wine, eat amazing food, and have the best time ever. But then, reality hits. You spend too much time driving, you're starving by midday, you forget to book a hotel, or worse, you end up at some winery that feels more like a gas station with a wine rack, and that is no bueno. But don't worry, I got you. Today I'm going to break down exactly how to plan the perfect wine and food road trip, from picking the right region to mapping out your stops to avoiding the hangry trap and making sure you're actually enjoying yourself without needing the 3-day nap afterwards. All right, how are we going to break this down? We're going to break it down in steps. Number one is to pick your wine region wisely. All right, first things first, where the heck are you going? Now, not all wine regions are road trip friendly. You may have known that, you may not have. Some are super compact and making it easy to hop from places to places between wine and food and activities, things like that. Very, very convenient. Others, you can spend half your day driving and questioning your life's choices. 100%. So, if you're looking for a wine region that's perfect for road tripping, here are some of my go-to picks. First and foremost, let's start in California, my home state. I made wine here in California for many, many years. I've been to all of these places, and these 3 locations that I'm going to tell you about are perfect and easy to navigate for someone wanting to do a wine trip, road trip, and see a lot of things, eat a lot of great places, and have an awesome time doing it. First and foremost is Paso Robles. Paso Robles is right there in the central coast of California. It's a little bit off the coast. It's about 45 minutes inland. And there are so many wineries within a small geographical area, along with restaurants and activities and all kinds of wonderful things. You really can't beat Paso Robles. Some of my favorite wineries are located in Paso. If you want to know what those are, hit me up in the comments, and I'd be happy to share some of my favorites with you. Just south of Paso Robles is Santa Barbara. So some great places in Santa Barbara County are Los Olivos, Santa Ynez, Buellton. Really, really great wine spots and food spots on top of it. Great places, easy to navigate. And then we go a little bit further north up into, you've heard me talk about Sonoma several times on this podcast, and I absolutely prefer Sonoma over Napa. I find it less Disneyland-like. Great wines coming out from Napa. I don't knock them, but for a more down-home friendly experience, check out Sonoma. Different wines, of course, but the experience is absolutely wonderful. Places like Healdsburg are absolutely amazing. Sebastopol, wonderful, wonderful place. I definitely highly recommend all of these 3 places. Now, the beautiful thing about these regions that I'm talking about is not only do you have great wineries and tasting rooms that are all in close proximity to one another, but you're going to have amazing food options as well, all within a very, very short distance. And that's what this is all about. You've heard me talk in a previous episode about getting the most bang for your buck. Cruising is absolutely one way to do that. Road tripping is another great way to get the most bang for your buck, see a lot of things, meet great people, eat awesome food, and most importantly, drink great wine. So let's go a little bit further north, and one of my favorite places. I had the awesome opportunity to visit Willamette Valley this past summer in 2024 and had an amazing time. Awesome wineries, one of my favorite places for Pinot Noir, of course, and one of my favorites is Pinot Noir Rosé, and the Pinot Noir Rosés coming out of Willamette are absolutely awesome. And then you go a little bit further, and you're going to run into the Columbia River Gorge up in Washington and Walla Walla as well. If you are a Pinot Noir fan, Cabernet Sauvignon fan, these are some of the up and coming regions that I highly, highly recommend visiting. I took a beautiful ride through the Columbia River Gorge this past summer when I visited that region. Had such a great time. So many beautiful things, and ate a lot of really, really great food. And of course, had some awesome wine experiences. So I definitely highly recommend doing that. Willamette, is right outside of Portland. It's a 45 minute drive outside of Portland. So, make Portland your hub. Go down to Willamette, which is just a short drive away, out to Columbia Gorge. Now, Walla Walla is a little bit further away, but if you make a few-day plan of it, I know you're going to love enjoying that region for the awesome wines that they're producing, up-and-coming winemakers, and great restaurants. Let's go to the East Coast. Some gems of the East Coast include the Finger Lakes of New York. That is on my bucket list to get up to the Finger Lakes and enjoy some of the beautiful white wines that they're producing, as well as some of the dessert wines that they produce up there are absolutely fantastic. I want to get boots on the ground. I want to run through that area, and I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that I'm going to get an opportunity to do that this summer when we go to the East Coast and travel up through that region into Canada. And I definitely would love to be able to stop by the Finger Lakes. So I will come back with some more suggestions, but just from people that I know who have done it, say that Finger Lakes is an amazing spot to visit. Again, compact area with great wineries, great restaurants, and awesome activities to do while you're up there. A little bit further south from there, well, a lot of bit further south, you've got Virginia wine country. Virginia is, don't sleep on Virginia, guys. They are producing some of the state's greatest wines right now. And again, if you want to learn more about that, hit me up in the comments and let me know that you're interested in learning more, and I'll be happy to share some ideas with you on that. Plus in Virginia, you've got, just along that whole 95 corridor, a little more inland as well. You're going to have awesome places to visit while you're on that road trip. Great things to see, the nation's capital, beautiful places in Virginia, North Carolina, et cetera, et cetera. I highly, highly recommend planning a trip around doing wine in Virginia. And then let's go overseas. One of my favorite places, and you've heard me talk about this before, in Europe is Tuscany. Tuscan wines from that region are absolutely fantastic, whether you like it more bold and rich, like a Super Tuscan with a little Cabernet Sauvignon, or beautiful Chiantis made with the Sangiovese grape. You cannot beat the red wines from the Tuscany region. And if you make a road trip out of it, let me tell you, you are going to see some of the most beautiful places in the world. Florence, Pisa, you get a little bit further south to Napoli, and it's again a pretty Vast region, but it is pretty compact, and you will be able to see so many things in a short amount of time. Beautiful history, beautiful people, beautiful views, and of course, beautiful wines. Now, when planning a road trip to anywhere outside of the United States, remember that if you're going to be renting a car, a lot of cars in these places are going to be manual. So if you do not know how to drive a manual transmission vehicle, find someone who does, bring someone along with you who does, or it's super easy to learn. Go out and learn how to drive a manual, because you do not want to run into the mistake of getting into your rental car and realizing that you cannot drive it. Anyway, let's go over to Spain, the Rioja region of Spain, known traditionally for their Tempranillo, some beautiful white grapes. Really, really fantastic spot. Again, relatively compact, so you'll be able to see a lot of things in a short amount of time. And let's talk about the food. The food in that region is absolutely outstanding. Rustic, traditional recipes, stews and meats and vegetables, and you're going to be absolutely blown away by the food that comes out of the Rioja region of Spain. Now, I've not been, but again, it's on my bucket list, and I've heard people talk about it for years, is going down to Argentina, going way up in the mountains to the Mendoza region. Again, fabulous, fabulous food, amazing wines coming out of that area, concentrating on Malbec, which is a French grape, but they're really doing some super, super fun things with Malbec in Argentina. So if you're feeling fancy, let's get out of the country and go enjoy some awesome stuff outside of your comfort zone. Moral of this story is pick a place where the wineries aren't 45 minutes apart. Pick a place that you can easily drive to or get driven to. We'll talk about more about that in a second. That 10, 15, 20 minutes away, no more time than that. Because if you do, you're going to spend more time behind the wheel or in the passenger seat than you will with a glass in your hand. And trust me, no one is Instagramming that road trip, people. All right, so what are we going to do? We are going to map out your wineries, and we're going to map out your food stops. We want to figure out all of this in advance, because if you don't, it's not going to be fun doing it at the last minute. So, you've got your destination. Now, how do we make sure that you absolutely enjoy it? My first piece of advice is limit yourself to 3 wineries per day. 3 wineries per day. Any more than that, and your taste buds will go numb. Now, I taste wine for a living. That's what I do. I've built up my palate, but for someone who is just a casual wine drinker on a road trip, having a great time, if you do more than 3 wineries a day, and each one of those wineries is going to give you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tastings, your taste buds will not be happy with you. And the notes that you're writing down are just going to say, tastes like wine. We're going to talk in a minute about taking your trusty notebook with you. I'll talk about mine in a second. I always keep it right here by my side to make notes about wines that I'm trying, new wines that I'm trying especially, of course, pairings and things like that. All right, number 2. Number 2 is try a big name winery. You're going to mix it up. You're going to try a big name winery. You're going to try a small family run winery, and maybe something totally offbeat like a biodynamic or natural wine producer. You can find all of these things typically within a small region. So I definitely would recommend varying it up. You're always going to have a great time at some of those big name wineries. They're a big name for a reason. They have a following. They make great wine. It's as simple as that. I have a heart for the small family producer. I come from a line of small family producers, and you definitely want to get in there and pop into a place that is run by a family, run by the kids, run by the parents, run by everyone. And a lot of times, when you walk into a tasting room like that, you're actually going to meet someone who is invested in what's going on in that winery, in that tasting room, and they're going to be able to share amazing stories with you. So I highly, highly recommend that. And then, if you're interested in trying something new and different, find yourself a biodynamic winery or a natural wine producer. If you want to know more about what those are, again, hit me up in the notes or in the comments rather, and I can definitely tell you a little bit more about that. And I'm sure I'll be doing an episode coming up about those things. And then finally, you are going to plan your food stops in advance. Nothing kills a wine trip faster than a hangry meltdown. You need to make sure that you eat. Make sure you know where you're eating lunch. And the answer is not, we're going to grab a snack later. This is not a strategy. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that a lot of places, especially those small family owned places that we were just talking about, will allow you to bring in a picnic with you. Bring your own food, stop at the grocery store. A lot of places like Napa, Sonoma, Paso Robles, I know for sure have snack boxes that you can pick up, great charcuterie boards, things like that. Again, make sure you plan that out in advance. Pack your picnic in advance. Don't try to wing it when it comes to food on a wine road trip because you will be sorry. Absolutely. All right. So, what are we going to talk about next? Of course, we're on a road trip. I would love for that road trip to be more than one day. So, if it is going to be more than one day, where are you going to stay? Where are you going to be crashing for the night? Because I don't know about you, but nothing ruins a wine trip faster than ending the day at a weird motel because you didn't plan in advance, flickering lights, questionable smells, and so on. So, in addition to planning what wineries you're going to, planning your food, let's pick out where you're going to stay for that overnight or those overnights. Best options, vineyards. A lot of places have glamping tents, have trailers, have guest rooms, B&Bs, all of that type of stuff. So my personal preference would be to stay on a winery. You're going to have an amazing experience on the ground with the people, waking up in a vineyard. Yes, please. Absolutely. Just outside of the winery itself, you're going to find wine country inns. These are usually small, boutique type hotels that have awesome amenities, are in close proximity to where you're going to be traveling. And if you choose wisely, you can pick one of these little places to stop at the end of the day. If we're traveling north, for example, at the northern end of where your day is going to end, and then on day two, you can get up and just keep traveling to where you're going. Hotels, of course, are fine and great. You can definitely do one of that, but please don't discount Airbnbs as well. Airbnbs, VRBO, you can find a lot of great spots in wine country. I've stayed at a lot of them. They're always awesome. There's always a bottle of wine waiting for you, knock on wood, and these are great for groups. If there's going to be 3+ of you going on this road trip, I highly recommend looking into an Airbnb. And pro tip, if your last winery of the day is a 45-minute drive from your hotel, you messed up. Again, make everything within close proximity to one another. All of the wineries that you're going to, all of the food stops you're going to be making, and of course, the place you're going to be staying at the end of your day. Make sure that it is in decent proximity to where you are going to be enjoying yourself. Now, again, I would be ashamed if I didn't talk a little bit about how to maximize on making this a safe trip. Let's talk about it. Look, I love wine. You love wine, but let's not be dumb about it. You need to plan so you're not the person trying to walk off 4 tastings before getting behind the wheel. Make sure that you have a designated driver. Maybe you're renting or booking a driver or something like that. Let's not be dumb about it. Let's make sure that we're being safe for you, for everyone else in your party, and of course, everyone around you. Here are some ideas for staying safe on this road trip, this wine road trip. Let's rotate our designated drivers. It's not going to be great for everyone. I should throw in there that at every tasting room you go to, you will have the option of spitting. Do not discount the spit factor in going to tasting rooms. You can enjoy the wine without getting overly intoxicated. So let's make sure everyone can drive. Let's make sure that there's someone sober behind the wheel before going to your next location. Of course, I mentioned it just a second ago, hire a local driver. Get to where you're going and then hire someone to take you around. Not only is that going to be safer, it's surprisingly affordable to do it, and you're going to get a local guide that's going to show you around a place that you've probably never been before. Ask this person for ideas. Ask the person for activities. If you plan on going to wineries A, B, and C, maybe he can offer you a D instead. So I highly recommend trying that. And of course, we have so many rideshare options nowadays. Get yourself an Uber, get yourself a Lyft. But of course, before you plan on that, make sure that the region you're going to actually has these things available for you. So, with all of that being said, have a plan because nothing says vacation buzzkill like a DUI, people. Just don't do it. Alrighty. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to pack for a trip like this. And when you're on a road trip, of course, you're going to have just a small amount of room depending on the amount of people you're bringing along with you, the amount of cargo space you have in the vehicle. So let's talk about the final prep, and that is what should you pack? I think the most important thing to pack on a wine road trip is an easy, comfortable, and safe way to get all of the wine back home with you that you're going to buy on your trip. They have individual wine bags. They have wine bags that you can put 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 bottles of wine into these safe wine bags. They are padded, they're safe. And a lot of places will actually allow you to travel with them to get on planes. I know Alaska Airlines, for example, will allow you to bring on a certain amount of wine onto the plane to places like Santa Rosa, Napa Valley, etc., etc. So definitely want to look into that. We've talked about food. Of course, you're going to have awesome, great food experiences, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the road, but you're going to get hungry, so make sure you're packing some snacks. Pack some fruit, pack some protein bars, things that are going to satiate you but not fill you up. Highly, highly recommended. Chargers for your devices, duh. And you know what? I actually went on Spotify and I created a Spotify road trip playlist. So if you would like to get your hands on that, I'll talk more about that at the bottom of the show. And then, of course, do not leave your house without your notebook or some place where you can write notes. This is where I keep my notes currently. I do a lot of them, but this is where I keep my notes. Go find yourself an app, get yourself a journal, something along those lines to take notes, to remember your experience. Because if you are not the designated driver and you're on your third winery of the day, I can almost guarantee that you're not going to remember what you had a couple of hours ago. Some great apps that I recommend, Vivino, Delectable, are 2 great apps where you can take notes, but I'm old school and I love to write my notes down with my favorite pens. Last thing to pack is always going to be a great attitude, because no matter how much you plan, things will go off track. I come from the hospitality industry. I was in the wedding business for many, many years, and every time I talked to a client about planning an event, I will always tell them, and it's true for this wine trip as well, is things will go off track. Things are not going to be perfect. So get over it. You might run into a winery that's closed for the day because of whatever. Reservations at your favorite restaurant might get messed up. So just roll with it. Roll with it, people. Worst case, you drink more wine and have a good time. All right. We're going to wrap things up right now and talk a little bit about that playlist that I was telling you about. I would love for you to hit me up in the comments, like, subscribe, and comment Road Trip. I have prepared a free wine road trip checklist for you. So if you want to get your hands on that, please like and subscribe and comment Road Trip either in YouTube or on social media where you might see this. And if you have a wine road trip story, I want to hear it, everybody. I want to hear it. Catch me on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. Find me on all of those places. I want to hear your story, and don't forget to drop me a review. And I mentioned that Spotify playlist. You're going to find the link to that down here in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, and make sure you share this podcast with all of your friends. All right, my fellow wine adventurers, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Whether you are road tripping through Napa, Tuscany, or somewhere totally unexpected, remember, plan smart, drink responsibly, and most importantly, have fun. Make sure you subscribe, and until next time, keep wondering and wandering. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Pour and Explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, and your questions, so you can drop me a line at cheers@thewineguy.vin. That's cheers@thewineguy.vin. Or let's connect on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Grab those links on my website at thewineguy.vin. Until next time, let's keep wondering and wandering. Cheers, everyone.